Hello students, this video is for group number 4, factoring using the takeout method. Please copy along and take notes on your worksheet. You might need an extra piece of paper if it doesn't fit on the worksheet. But let's get started. The takeout method is simply finding the greatest common factor. That's the GCF. I like to call it the takeout method though. Let me go ahead and demonstrate by doing a problem with you. Look at problem number 3 on your worksheet. Let's work this one out together. So here you have two pieces. You have this first piece, 15x to the third power. And then you have the second piece, 5x to the second power. The minus sign is what separates it into pieces. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to look at these two pieces and you're trying to ask yourself, what do they have in common? And not just what they have in common, but what's the biggest thing they have in common? What's the most you can take out? That's why I call it the takeout method. So I know a lot of students learn by being visual learners, so I want to break this up visually. This might not make a lot of sense right now. Just go ahead and copy this down with me, and you'll start to understand it as we do a couple of problems together. Look at the regular numbers, 15 and 5. Look at these numbers. What do these two pieces both have? Hopefully you're thinking that they have a 5 in common. And then break it up. How can you get 5? What times what gives you 5? Well, 5 times 1. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw this out. For 15, there's a 5 hidden inside of 15. How? Well, 5 times 3 is 15. So I'm going to show you the 5 that's hidden in 15. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, now look at the letters. Look at the X. Okay, there's an X right here, and then there's an X right here. I'm going to go ahead and draw these out. This piece has 3 X's because of the third power, so I'm going to draw 3 of them. So here's 1, 2, 3 X's. Very visual. How many X's are in this piece? Well, there's 2. X to the second power. So I'm going to draw them. 1, 2. Now I'm going to drop my minus sign just to remind myself that these two things are being separated by a minus sign. Look at these two pieces. What do they both have in common again? Oh, well, they both have a 5. I'm going to go ahead and circle that 5. They both have a 5. What else do they both have? Well, they both have X's. How many X's can they both give me? 2. Why not 3, someone might ask? Well, because this piece doesn't have 3. It only has 2 X's. So I'm going to circle them. And this one also has 2 X's. It has more than 2, but they both have that. So what I'm going to write is I'm going to write what I'm going to take out. Both pieces can give me a 5, and both pieces can give me 2 X's. So they can both give me a 5, and they can both give me 2 X's. So I'm going to write it in exponential form. Instead of saying 2 X's, I'm going to say x to the second power, or x squared. Okay, so some things you need to think about. You're always going to tell what you're taking out. So what you took out. So again, I took out a 5 and 2 X's. So that's why I put x squared. I took out a 5 and I took out 2 X's. So you always tell me what you took out. The leftovers are the things that I didn't circle. So my leftovers are 3 and X. So I'm going to write it down. These are my leftovers, 3 and X. Then there's a minus sign. I'm going to go ahead and drop that minus sign. And what was left over in this piece? This 1. So I'm going to drop the 1. And these two pieces are my answers. These are the factors of 15x cubed minus 5x squared. If I were to multiply this back together again and put little arrows here and multiply, I would get this top answer, right? I mean, just try it in your head. What's 5 times 3? Oh, that's 15. What's x squared times another x? Oh, that's x cubed, right? And then you can multiply this with the 1. What's 5x squared times 1? That's just going to be 5x squared. So I promise you that'll happen every time. When you multiply your answers back together again, you get the problem, the original problem. Okay? So this is how you factor using the takeout method. You always tell me what you took out, and you always put the leftovers in their own separate parentheses. Let's try another problem so that you can start getting more comfortable with it. Okay, this problem is a little bit more complicated. Now again, you have 2 pieces, and you're trying to see what the 2 pieces have in common. Sorry, I changed screens. Let me go back. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here, sorry. Okay, here we go. Here you have 2 pieces. Here's your first piece, and then here's your second piece. Okay, let's focus on the numbers. You have 16 and 28. What's the biggest number they have in common? You might think 2. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 14 is 28. But 2 is small. Think of the biggest number that 16 and 28 both have in common. What number can multiply and give you 16, and that same number can multiply and give you 28? Think about it. Well, you got 4. 4 times 4 gives you 16, and 4 times 7 gives you 28. So the answer is 4. Let's show how there's a 4 hidden inside of 16. 4 times 4 is 16. Let's show how there's a 4 also hidden in 28. 4 times 7 is 28. Very good. What else do these 2 pieces have in common? Well, they both have m's. This piece has 3 of them, so I'm just going to draw them. M times m times m. And this piece over here, how many m's does this one have? Well, it doesn't have a power here. That means it's an invisible 1. You just have 1 m. So I'm just going to draw that m. What else do these 2 pieces have in common? Well, the y's. This piece has 2 of them, so I'm going to draw them. 1 and 2. This piece over here has 5, so I'm going to go ahead and draw them. There's going to be 5 of them. And so here I set up my problem, and I'm going to look at these 2 pieces, and again I'm going to ask myself, what's the most I could take out of them? For my numbers, we already talked about this. We're going to take out a 4. Okay, they both have a 4 they can give me. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 4 here. Everybody can give me a 4. What's the most they could give me in terms of m's? The most they can give me is just 1 m, because this piece only has 1 m that they could give me. So I'm going to go ahead and take 1 m from each piece. Now take a look at the y's. How many y's can they give me? Well, this one has 2 and this one has 5. So I guess I can only take 2 because this piece doesn't have more to give me. So I'm going to take 2 from this piece and the same amount 2 from this other piece. All right. My leftovers is everything I did not circle. So it's 4m squared because there's 2 m's. I'm about to run out of time, guys, so I'm going to have to finish this on another video. But the answer is 4m squared and then plus 7y cubed. plus 7y